G'day guys and welcome to Pure Property Investment One-on-One. Today I'm joined by Aaron Christie-David. Aaron is the Director of Atelier Wealth. He's a mortgage broker. He's also a property investor. So a lot of experience in every facet of that finance game. One thing that I would like to speak about with you, Aaron, today is probably a little bit more in your realm than mine is when an investor or an owner-occupier is looking to buy their home or their investment property. There's a lot of talk about credit scores and about the strength of your application and some things that I think probably boost people's chances of getting finance as opposed to hinder them. And most of it is unknown to the actual consumer. And that the problem is that there's kind of the dark web of everything that happens behind the screen. And when a computer says no, people are like, well, I don't really know why or what I could have done. I'm assuming you probably have some insights and some tips for people to think about when they are putting the application in, things they can do to better their chances of getting finance for that investment property or that owner-occupied property.
Yeah, definitely. Get to know your credit file. That's what we tell clients. So understanding your credit score is one step, but also what's in your credit file, which is all the applications you've made for previous loans, credit cards, and utilities such as phone and electricity as well. So that's step one. Step two is full disclosure around all your assets and liabilities and debts. You can imagine that if an application goes to a bank and the credit assessor looks at that and sees that there's undisclosed debt, now they're looking for reasons to kind of say no or decline. Let's say the unfortunate happens and the application gets declined, and now we've got to go to the next bank. That bank is going to ask, what's happened with that previous inquiry as well? You don't really want to go out and say it got declined because that's going to trigger a red flag. So what we do is get the application right to begin with, give as much information as you can. We may think that we're asking for a lot, but that's essentially what the banks want. They want to know everything because they're lending you a fair bit of money.
Correct.
And then the next step is get to know your broker or your banker and make sure that they're disclosing everything as well, not just to get that loan to service with the bank. So what you may ask for is, can I have a look at the application or the serviceability that's being submitted to the bank to make sure that disclosing everything as well? And that's going to give you the best chance to get your application approved with minimal rework. And it's going to put your best foot forward to get not only your best borrowing capacity, but internally it's a better quality application. In turn, could get you a better rate with a better bank.
Yeah, gotcha. So there's a few things there I think I'll take away. One is full disclosure is key, because even if you don't disclose it, it will be found out, similar to not disclosing certain tax aspects to the ATO. I mean, you can think you're going to cheat it, but ultimately it's going to work to your detriment, because when they do find it, which they will, and then all of a sudden they're going to say, well, you didn't disclose this, now I'm really going to look a little bit harder to see what else haven't you disclosed, and you're giving them a reason not to give you the money. And secondly, I think getting your ducks in a row before you put that application in is absolutely key, because what you don't want is multiple applications that are denied that you probably could have run with your broker or your banker to say, let's just see if I'll service this, and if it's a no, rather than put that application and have a bad, obviously, review from your credit file, don't put it on there full stop. And knowing you're leveraging borrowing power before you put that application in, absolutely vital, and having the discussion with someone like yourself is key.
Very much. There's no reason why you should be sending an application to a bank when you know it's not going to service. So why run the gauntlet?
Absolutely. And I think something that we do here at Pure Property Investment when we talk about buying an investment property, for instance, is making sure people understand their borrowing capacity before we talk about objectives and strategies and property types, because we can pontificate all we like, but if you don't know truly what the bank's going to be prepared to lend you, and secondly, how that fits into your objectives, your cash flow and your strategy, then property might not even be the right asset. And if it is the right asset, we need to know, well, what kind of property does it need to be? What's the price point? What's the growth outcome we want to get from it? What's the cash flow that we need to service the loan? All these things come into play and are absolutely vital for us to talk about in the early stages before we buy the property and get loans approved. So guys, again, if you do want to contact Aaron or anyone at his team, here's details at the bottom of the screen. Likewise with ours, and we'll catch up with you soon. Cheers.